Ever since the new Bronco came out, I always thought that this is one of the best retro-inspired modern designs. This one and the previous Challenger just spot on. This looks like a 60s vehicle in a modern shape. I love what Ford is doing. And for 2025, we have this Stroppe version, meaning that it is, of course, inspired by Bill Stroppe's old Baja Racer Bronco from the 60s or so. And I love the color scheme here. It looks great. We got the Fox Baja Special suspension for the Stroppe version. We also have, of course, this color looking beautiful. We have a 10-inch ground, over 10 inch of the ground clearance, 35-inch tall tires. So what we're going to do in this video is have a look at this beauty. I mean, it looks stunning. This is the only Bronco for 2025 that you can get with a V6 in a two-door specification. They dropped that for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why, but if you want a two-door Bronco with a V6, this is the only one you can buy with that setup in 2025. So we're going to have a look at the front end design, the side view, the rear, the beautiful interior, which I love with these Broncos. And the last but not least, of course, we're going to take this for a drive. Before we go any further in this video, I'd like to take a minute to thank today's sponsor, 3W Liners. 3W Liners provides premium floor mats for Ford, such as this one, the Ford Bronco, the Ford Bronco Sports. They also provide high-quality floor mats for a variety of off-road SUVs. They use something called Vigor Mold technology, and these mats are durable and resistant to everyday wear and tear, maintaining their shape and quality over a long period of time. And I'm gonna show you here exactly how you install these floor mats. It's very straightforward. It comes with an instruction manual, but I honestly don't think you really need it. All you gotta do is take out the old mats and put in the new ones. They're designed for easy cleaning, so whether there is dust, dirt, or sand on the floor mat, simply rinse it with water or a damp cloth for a few minutes, and it's going to look brand new. And each floor mat is custom made using 3D scanning technology to achieve a perfect fit with the curves of the interior, ensuring an attractive appearance and preventing dirt from accumulating in the side gaps. And I'm going to show you just how well these fits over each small little detail in the interior of this specific Bronco. It's made exclusively from Thorex material with no adhesives added during the manufacturing process, ensuring a safe and also an odorless experience. And that is something that other floor mats tend to have this, rubber smell to it, but these 3W liners don't have any smell whatsoever. So make sure you go to 3wliners.com and use my specific link in the description. I'm also going to add it in the pinned comment down below for a special discount. And thanks to 3W Liners for sponsoring this video. As always, let's have a look at what's under the hood of this Ford Bronco Stroppe Edition 2025 model here. We have a 2.7-liter twin-turbo V6, 330 horsepower, 415 pound-feet of torque. Is connected to a 10-speed automatic transmission. Obviously, you do have four-wheel drive with front and rear locking differentials. 0 to 60 in about 6 seconds. Fuel economy with these 35s, not the best. 17 city, 18 highway, and the price for this is around $78,000. So with that said, let's close down the hood and let's check out this beautiful design, because I still think to this day, even though it's been out for a few years now, it's still one of the coolest SUV designs on the market. Now, starting with the front end design, and what makes this special is, of course, the color theme. You're instantly gonna recognize this as a Stroppe edition with the white front end, the black hood, which is, of course, going to reduce glare when you're out in the Baja Desert. You don't want the sun to just glare right in your face from the hood. So we have the hood being matte black. Love to see it. The white front end with the code orange lettering here, and also the code orange side for the doors in this section with the white stripe going all the way back, and the blue removable roof up top. Looking at the front end design, love what's going on here. Very inspired by the old Broncos with the LEDs here, full LED headlights with the daytime lights being the circle right here. Full LED indicator right there as well. And of course, we do have the front mounted camera located right here. I would want to see a washer for this, because if you go, off-roading and slushing around in the mud, it's going to get dirty. So you want to have that be cleaned up pretty easily, but you don't get a washer for that. Even though I do like everything that goes on in the front end, we have the code orange tow hooks down here with some active slots for the ventilation in this area. And of course, all the way down low, proper steel skid plates for everything that needs to be protected. The transfer case, oil pan, fuel tank, and all of that is protected by some proper steel skid plates. The bumper itself is also steel, and I do love that we see all the hardware here. It just makes it feel like a proper off-roader, that you don't have to be afraid of taking on the trails to scratch it up or something like that, because everything around it is just proper steel. You also have the integrated parking sensors right here inside of this steel bumper. Pretty interesting to see that. Now, what I love about this, one key line of this Bronco that I've always loved ever since this first came out, is going to be the shoulder line, because this shoulder line is a shoulder line we do not see in modern cars. And this is something that was so common back in the 60s and 70s, how we have this indent here. You see how this shoulder line goes into the body and then stretches all the way back? This is a classic 60s, 70s line that I love that Ford put on the Bronco. We have the same line or style for this line in the lower section right here in the door, with, of course, this having the full Sasquatch package, the 35-inch tall tires with the 17-inch wheels. And I also like that we have the removable roof being blue with the Bronco letters right there on the side. All the way down low, you have this removable side step. I would probably remove this. If it was me, all you got to do is just remove these bolts here and take this off. You also have the skid plate here, of course, metal skid plate for when you take this on the trails. Looking at the wheel and tire setup here, 35-inch tall tires, 315mm wide tires, 17-inch wheels, a lot of rubber here, as you can see. We have Goodyear Wrangler tires, but of course, Ford, they didn't want to have Wrangler, anything saying Wrangler on the side of the vehicle. So what they did, they said to Goodyear, can we please just remove the Wrangler on one side and have Goodyear on both sides? And that is exactly what happened here. This is, in fact, a Goodyear Wrangler tire, but it just says Goodyear on both sides instead of Wrangler. 315mm wide tires, beadlock capable, 17-inch wheel. I like that it's matte black on the inside on the spokes and then gloss black on the outside of the ring here, looking very, very beautiful. I do like the black wheels in this case, being, more functional and not for an aesthetic standpoint. When you have off-road vehicles like this, black wheels tend to still look very, very good. One cool thing about the installation of the side mirrors here, you can see that it sits on this arm that goes in front of the windshield, meaning that when you take the doors off, the side mirrors are going to stay in place. In comparison, for example, to the Wrangler, when you take the doors off, you don't have any side mirrors anymore. Great design there by Ford. Now, looking all the way across to the back, we do have this little upswing here in the body panel, also bringing back some classic lines from the 60s and 70s. Broncos love to see that. This having the Sasquatch package, of course, having these big wide fenders that look so good. Bronco actually has, I think they have 3 or 4 different designs for their fenders. You have the regular Sasquatch, which are rounded fenders. Then you have the Raptor, and then you have the Everglades, which I do believe have the same design for the fenders like we have right here. The proportions are fantastic. I love the two-door Broncos. Turning radius is so good, very easy to maneuver around, and this is a perfect trail vehicle. It is a little bit rough, honestly, when you're driving it. It's a little noisy, it's a little, shaky, but what I love about this is that this is one of these purpose-built vehicles that I want to see more manufacturers focus on. It doesn't have all the luxuries and luxury cruise, feel when you're driving it. It feels like you can take this anywhere you want to go, and it will have no problems at all getting you there. Now, looking at the taillight design here, of course, full LED taillights here as well. Love to see it. You can get it without the LEDs, but I would definitely get the Bronco with the full LED setup. You can see we have the parking sensors integrated in the lower section of the bumper. We have a full-size spare tire just hanging in the back with the rear mounted camera located right there in a very interesting position. We have the brake light all the way up there as well above the tire, because you need to have that be visible. Again, love the hardware that you can see all around this design. We also have the gloss black Bronco logo right there, looking absolutely beautiful. So let's open this up, because we do have a split opening, and let me show you what the trunk space looks like for this. Now, as you can see, we do have a split opening. You can swing the lower section open, or you can also open up the window section up top, looking beautiful. Underneath here, we don't really have a lot. We have a little bit of additional storage right there. We have the Bang & Olufsen sound system speaker integrated in the side. 2 LEDs, 12-volt cigarette outlet up there, and that is pretty much it. As you can see, we don't have a ton of space back here when the seats are folded up, but you can of course fold them down just like that, and you get a lot more space back here. I would personally, I think, go with a 2-door Bronco because I think it just looks so cool, and it's so unusual to have a 2-door SUV with this type of off-road capabilities. And the styling overall is just one of the best looking, as I said, one of the best looking SUVs on sale right now. So with that said, let's jump in and have a look at what's going on in this interior. What I love about this interior is just the functionality of it. Everything is very easy to clean if you happen to get anything dirty here. For example, you have this plugs in the lower section in the floor. You can just drain plugs. If you get anything wet in here, all you got to do is open this plug and you will drain the entire mess that's in here out, just draining down at the bottom. Looking at the door panels, very, very minimalistic door panels. At least this area here where you're gonna have your elbow is soft touch material. But again, this is designed for just if you get it dirty. The seats, same thing here. If you get this dirty, very easy to just wipe everything off. I also like that these are analog or manual functions for the seats, or adjustments for the seats. You don't really need to have a lot of motors to add weight to this vehicle because you're probably just going to adjust it once if you're the only one driving this. Also love that we have the Bronco stamped or embossed into the backrest here, in addition to this code orange stitching that we have going on. Beautiful looking seats. The door panel again comes back with this code orange line right here, looking beautiful. Door handle looks proper as well. It's a pretty thin door. You don't really have a lot of storage here, and that is of course because you can remove this. It's not supposed to be too heavy when you remove the doors. So let's step in here. Let's use this side step. It says, by the way, it says Bronco on it right there. Let's step in here. Let's fire this beast up. Let's see what this is all about. So coming in here, start button right here. I love that this shape of the start button is the exact same shape as we have for the headlight unit itself. Press that one. It's gonna fire it up. We have a 12-inch infotainment screen, 12.3-inch gauge cluster right there, looking beautiful. I've always loved this setup because we have a nice framing for everything right here. And this white that's on the exterior comes back for the inside. And how these vents, I love the fact that these vents have this little chamfer underneath it. It looks like the vents have just been pushed in and created this chamfer as they were installed in this dash. I also like, of course, that it says Bronco right here. Beautiful. Up top, this is hard touch material, but you can mount any GoPros or whatever you want in this area right here. You also have 2 USBs underneath that area, in addition to all these buttons right here. So we have the hazard button, traction control on and off, trail turn assist, locking rear diff, locking front diff, and sway bar disconnect right there. Beautifully done, and also rubberized, so it's not gonna get any sort of water or liquid inside here and ruin the electronics. Everything is rubberized in this interior. I love to see it. Glove box, pretty decent as well. And all the way down here, we have all the physical knobs and buttons looking beautiful. Look at how the fan speed is a separated color and separated unit in this control panel right here. Of course, volume knob right there, temp control, rubberized dials, love to see it. Heated seats in 3 different levels. You also have the heated steering wheel right there, beautifully laid out. Now looking at the infotainment screen here, same goes for the chamfer that we have here. Also have a beautiful chamfer in this lower section. It feels like the screen has been pushed into the dash. Going into the native system here, let's see if we can do that. Go in here, for example, settings. You can go into vehicle and change all of these settings. We can go into lighting, for example. One thing I like about Ford is zone lighting, so you can light up pretty much everything around you when you have it in a campsite, for example, or something like that. You can just light up the entire area around you by just turning these lights on and off. For example, you can turn the front lights on with this button, side lights, and just light up the entire area around you. Love to see that. Very cool, specifically of course when you go camping. You also have wireless Apple CarPlay here, and you can use this screen on the right side to show you some other information you want to see. Very cool to see this. I do like the graphics here. It looks beautiful. Same goes for the dash or the gauge cluster. You can customize this as well. We can go in and customize whatever you want to have right here in the middle section, which is pretty cool to see. I like to have it in just Bronco information like this. The pitch and roll looks very cool. We're in a 5-degree angle right now, as you can see. And of course, it sounds very nice as well. With this 2.7 liter twin turbo V6, the only 2-door Bronco in 2025 you can get with this engine choice. Now, all the way down here, you do have some USBs right there, one regular USB and a USB-C, in addition to some storage. I also love this area here, that this is special for the Stroppe edition. You have Bronco Stroppe edition in this orange field right there in this plaque, looking beautiful. Window controls are of course not located on the doors because these are, as I said, removable. So you have the window controls right there and also the mirror controls in this area. 2 cup holders here. Putting it into reverse, gonna pop up the reverse camera, full 360 camera, as you can see. Resolution is not the best, but you still have trajectory lines. And if you go into, for example, if we go into this drive mode right here, let's see, we have, let's just go through them. Normal, we have slippery, eco, sand, mud ruts, Baja, and rock crawl. If you go into Baja here, for example, you're gonna see that we get the camera now in the front camera, and you also have the trajectory lines for the front wheels right here, so you can see exactly where you're going when you're going Baja racing. Very cool to see that. I also like GOAT modes, go over any terrain modes right here. You have 2-wheel high, 4-wheel low, 4-wheel auto, 4-wheel high as well. Let's put in the 2-wheel high for now. And the center button right there is for the hill descent control. Gear lever right here, you don't have any paddles, but you do have these plus minus buttons on the side if you want to manually change gears. And I also like that we have the flag right here in addition to the Bronco logo up top. Underneath the armrest, you're gonna find yourself another 12-volt outlet right there, and that is pretty much it for the storage space in that specific area. So let's close this back down. Let's talk about the steering wheel design. You do have cruise control settings on the left side, volume knobs here as well, in addition to customizing the screen, the gauge cluster, and voice command in that area. Bronco logo instead of Ford logo, love to see it. These buttons being rubberized, meaning that you don't have to worry about getting anything in this interior dirty or wet or anything like that. I also love these grab handles that we have on the side for the driver, and also of course the passenger side in that area. So I do think we talked about everything in the front end. Of course, we don't have any sunroofs. These are removable panels up top, and all these auxiliary buttons here. You can hook up your train horns, your auxiliary lighting and stuff like that. Just hook them up to these buttons up top. Beautiful to see. To me, this is one of the best interiors Ford has have on sale right now. I have everything I need in here, nothing more and nothing less. It feels like the perfect purpose-built interior, because this is a car that you probably, a lot of people are still going to take off-road. It's just not your regular boring SUV that you just drive back and forth to the mall and the gas station, stuff like that. So let's jump into the back. Let's see if I can fit behind my own driving position, being 6'1", 6'2". Let's fold this, slide it forward. Let's see if I can actually get in here. It's pretty tight, to be honest. So I could barely slide through that area right there. I can't really pull the seat back now because I'm sitting back here. But the leg space feels pretty decent. I think I could be pretty comfortable in here if I just ask the driver to move forward a little bit. If the driver is as tall as I am, 6'1", 6'2". But back here we do have 2 USBs, as you can see right there, 2 USB-Cs and a house outlet as well. Great to see that. No cup holders in the side, but we do have cup holders right there on the side, and also for my side right there. So everything I need, and again, nothing more. So with that said, we talked about the beautiful exterior design, the stunning looking interior. I mean, just look at this. Functionality, utilitarian design, I love to see it. And now let's take this for a drive. Alright guys, let's take the 2025 Ford Bronco Stroppe edition for a drive. Let me show you what this is all about. So the thing that I think makes the Bronco, the big Bronco, not the Bronco Sport, so special. The Bronco Sport is great as well, by the way, when it comes to off-roading and all of that you want to see from a Bronco. But specifically this big Bronco is that this is a purpose-built vehicle. It does not try to be the best at 5 or 10 different areas. It just wants to be the best in one area, and that is off-roading. And I think that is what this Bronco is doing so well when it comes to, of course, off-roading, because you have all these buttons up here. You have the front and rear lockers, you have a trail assist, sway bar disconnect, and all of this stuff that is so useful when you're going on the trails. And it's similar to what the Wrangler is doing with the Rubicon model, but when it comes to design, I would 100% go with the Ford Bronco, because I think this is such a much cooler design. I think that's maybe because we're used to seeing Wranglers all over the place for so long, even though the Wrangler design is of course also very retro inspired, being, you know, a Wrangler. It looks like an old vehicle that's just modernized for today's world, and so does this Bronco. I mean, I love the old Broncos, and with the small little design features that we have for this one, it's just a beautiful, beautiful design that you can take anywhere you want. I think I would also go with the two-door Bronco. It's just a shame that they discontinued the V6 for the two doors for 2025. Maybe they weren't selling well, I'm not entirely sure why, but I would want to have this powertrain with a two-door, and if that's what I want in 2025, then I'm gonna have to go with this Stroppe edition. Or I could also, of course, just buy a used one, and that is probably what I would do myself. What's so good about the two-door is the turning radius. Even though we have the big 35-inch tires on this, turning this around in parking lots and of course on tight trails is very, very easy because of the extremely short wheelbase that we have. It's gonna get a little bit more unstable on highways, of course, and highways is not where you want to spend the majority of the time with this vehicle, because it is pretty loud in here. It gets pretty noisy from the tires and also the wind noise, but that is what you get when you have removable roof panels like this, removable doors. The installation is just not gonna be, the sound installation is just not gonna be as good as maybe you're used to when buying an SUV for over $70,000. One more thing that is so refreshing to see in this vehicle is we have a bunch of drive modes in this vehicle, but we don't have a single drive mode that says Sport, and that says a lot about the philosophy of this Bronco. They didn't even care to put a Sport mode in here. They could have done that, but that is not what this car is about. So we're in normal now. We're doing about 20-30 miles per hour. Let's go down to 25, coming into this 50 zone, and let's floor it. Let's go. Unleashing all those 330 horsepower. We do have some audio from the engine pumped in through the speakers, which is fine, I guess. I would prefer not to have that, specifically in a car like this that's not supposed to be a sports car, but it still sounds very good. And cruising in about 50 here, it's a very comfortable ride. The ride quality is great, but the noise level in here is pretty high, so keep that in mind. If you haven't driven a Bronco yet, you gotta notice that it is pretty loud in here. But once again, I kind of like it because that shows where the priorities are with this type of vehicle. I've said it before, but I think Ford right now, they're having some of the coolest vehicles that were just made for fun. They didn't need to make a Stroppe edition Bronco, but they did. And they didn't need to make a Ford Maverick Lobo, but they did. And these are the type of vehicles that I love to see from Ford, and that is why I'm a huge Ford fan at the moment, because I feel like they are speaking to the car enthusiasts, and they also looking backwards, looking at what type of heritage do we have and what type of vehicles do we have in the lineup that we can maybe tweak to sort of make an homage of those older vehicles that we had. The Lobo, for example, is a great example of that. this is the same right here, and the overall styling for the Bronco in general. So I'm a huge Ford fan. I really like this vehicle. And if you're sick of seeing all these Wranglers everywhere and you want something different, I would definitely have a look at the Bronco, but you need to get the Sasquatch package. Otherwise, it's going to look like just your average SUV. The Sasquatch package with the 35s and also these wider fenders just completely transforms the design of this vehicle. Great job, Ford, with the Bronco Stroppe edition, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.